What do locals think about living in Waterdown? Is it a good place to live or somewhere you should avoid? Well, in today's video, we're gonna be jumping on to the Reddit comments and I'll be reacting and giving you my thoughts and perspectives of what others are saying, what's true and what's not. As I can tell you right now, after going through some of these comments, there's definitely a lot I agree with, but there's also a lot I disagree with or is misinformation. So I thought in today's video, we would clarify everything that locals have been saying about Waterdown. So if you're new here and want to learn everything about what it's like living in Hamilton and the surrounding cities, make sure to hit the subscribe button. My name is Matthew, the founding realtor of the Living in Hamilton channel and team. And for the past couple of years, been helping people just like yourselves relocate here and buy a home. So regardless, if you're 6 months out or 60 days out, send me and my team a message today. Otherwise, let's just jump on the computer and get started with what people are saying about Waterdown. All right, so the first one here is actually a question that was deleted, but it had some great comments, and it was, what's the consensus view of Waterdown? And it looks like, based on the comments I went through, it was probably a negative reaction. There's a bunch of people. Now, this is on the Burlington, Ontario subreddit, so if you don't know, Waterdown is technically a part of Hamilton, but it's also literally right beside North Burlington. So if you went to North Burlington, you didn't go to Waterdown, that's correct. So apparently, I think something in the comment originally was something about it being a small town. So it definitely is a small town, but it's not far out like this person's saying. It's like any other up-and-coming suburb, I would agree. There's pretty much, most stores are there to get your basic amenities, but like they're saying, you're not going to find every store. With that said, you'll find, a Canadian Tire, a Rona, Shoppers, Walmart, Home Depot. You'll find a few within it as well as the downtown area of Waterdown. Definitely has some quaint restaurants and shops. One of my favorites is Copper Kettle Cafe. Waterdown is great, distant remote village. It's literally 5 minutes from Burlington, so that's what makes me think that the comment was something about that. Yeah, see, like, again, negative here, but as you can see, Waterdown's not Burlington at all, that's true, but with that said, I would say it's got a nice, diverse community within it, and based on the average price point and the median household income, I would not call it a bunch of dumb hicks. All right, so let's see this one. I think this is a good comment. I was born in Burlington, first got a house in Burlington, then moved to Waterdown 10 years ago. It's been really nice. I drive to Burlington all the time. You're about 5 minutes from Brent and Upper Middle. Yep, so basically not seeing any rusty trucks. Mostly on Upper Middle and upper class housing, large section of this. The major complaint is the lack of affordability, but it's anywhere eastward. Yeah, I mean, that's just the GTA in general. Most of the attached homes are above $1 million. Yep, I would agree with that. One of the downsides that you would be comparing if you're looking at Burlington versus Hamilton is the property taxes, because they are so close. As they're saying here, the property taxes in Hamilton are going to be higher than Burlington. So for basically a similar-ish size home in Burlington versus Waterdown, it's going to be a bit more expensive in property taxes. However, on the flip side of that, it will be just a tad more expensive in Burlington compared to Waterdown. It also has lots of nice parks. You know what I mean? You have just outside of it, Kearns Cliff Park, you have Smoky Hollow in the middle, you have the Park View, as well as like Christie Lake Conservation Area just there. And then the other area that's often a con, as this person says here, is, yeah, I see the traffic, rush hour during the traffic through Dundas. So Waterdown's downtown area is super charming, but it does have that one lane going each way. So that's exactly what they're mentioning here. Even along Parkside Road, yeah, which is like the other bypass, it's something that definitely gets backed up. However, like this person here is probably like a lot of other people and my clients that are relocating to Waterdown, where, they work from home. So oftentimes you can try to avoid, to the best of your ability, the rush hour times where those bottlenecks are. As for someone who comes from comfortable, well-educated background and works in a wide variety of people, some of those genuine, nicest people I've met are what you've described as trashy, dumb hicks. So that's not really cool about the Waterdown in general. Growing part of Hamilton, higher property taxes, like we've always said. That's the only real complaint. Although if they're equally taxed, they'd probably choose Burlington over Waterdown just for proximity to lake. So that is one of the downsides of Waterdown, is you're more landlocked than Burlington or like Stony Creek for that matter. However, like you can just drive to the lake if you're not planning on being right by the lake anyways. It's an extra 10-minute drive to the lake, so not that real bad. You think Waterdown is shabby? I think the town center is really cute. It feels kind of a British village or something. The only downside I can think of is, yeah, again, taxes. You can see people are doing it. However, like they mentioned here, actually, it's cheaper in terms of the real estate compared to Burlington. They are right that like essentially the gap is disappearing. One of the reasons why that is you're seeing a lot of new detached homes and townhomes that typically sell a little bit more. While it has smaller lots, usually a slightly bigger home than some of the other areas if you're comparing apples to apples. And as a result, the real estate prices are rising on average in Waterdown compared to Burlington a little bit because of that newer real estate options to choose from. However, with that said, if you're looking for an established neighborhood, you can still find some good established neighborhoods in the middle of Waterdown. I've never heard anyone in Burlington refer to Waterdown as North Burlington. It's a part of Waterdown. It's a part of Hamilton. Yeah, it's basically saying this here. It's, you mean like, if you can't afford Burlington, maybe it's a good option. I'd say it's similar-ish in affordability like we were just talking about, maybe slightly more expensive, or sorry, more affordable. Burlington slightly more expensive. Let's see what else there are here. Oh, here's a great comment. So Waterdown has some cool shops, bars on the main drag. So that's downtown Dundas, or downtown Waterdown, excuse me. It's on Dundas Street is where you're going to be finding that. Some of the homes are cool, are older. So you will find some century old homes, but they're not nearly the amount that you're going to find in like central Hamilton or Dundas for that matter. New developments are the same as you'll find anywhere. Yet the library is a really nice addition. It's one of the newest libraries in all of Hamilton and Waterdown. There's an outdoor skating rink in the Waterdown Memorial Park that's right across from the plaza that has Fortino's. I absolutely love that as well. What else do they have here? A bunch of other shopping options. The traffic through downtown, like we've discussed, is one of the biggest cars. Yeah, I would say like the other thing is like you are going to be pretty car dependent, which is something that, I mean, most of the GTA is like that to begin with. However, with that said, like Waterdown, you're not going to have much public transit options to choose from. A few local gems that they're mentioning here. Paradise, so Sweet Paradise is what they're mentioning here. A fantastic spot, an Italian deli / bakery. Copper Dog. No, they're referring to the Copper Kettle Cafe that has amazing English or apple fritters, I should say. You have the Old Coachman, which is the old English style pub that they're mentioning about as well. American Mill Street and American 5 House is another great staple in downtown Waterdown to enjoy. Here's another comment here. Waterdown is a beautiful little town, has experienced big growth spurt with lots of cookie cutter homes. Yeah, I mean, the newer homes are definitely a bit more cookie cutter than some of the older ones. However, one of the other areas that I think we'll talk about in just a moment, like one of the things, or gripes, I guess you could say, that some Waterdown residents have, is because you're a bit outside of Hamilton in general, and you're still paying the same property tax rate that you are in the rest of Hamilton, the investment in like the Waterdown's infrastructure compared to some other areas of Hamilton has been argued that it's a bit lacking. You know what I mean? Because you're just further out, so most of the tax money goes to other places in Hamilton. With that said, you know what I mean? They are working on things within the city or within the downtown area of Waterdown to improve. Most particularly be like the passway that will hopefully alleviate some of that bottleneck traffic around Dundas and downtown Waterdown. However, with that said, it's been on the works for a while, and I imagine it will continue to be on the works for a while to choose some. Actually, here's a decent one. Taxes are higher for less service. Yeah, also less busing service in Waterdown compared to like the other city of Hamilton. Waterdown's not Burlington, I agree. Work from home is probably more enjoyable. Definitely small town vibes. Yep. Property taxes, again, like you can kind of see what I was just mentioning with the property taxes. Waterdown is so cute. Always enjoying it. Lots of local cute cafes. I live in Waterdown. It's a part of Hamilton. It's a bit of an afterthought for the city. Lots of road improvement issues due to developers pushing new homes. Sure, that's the other thing that's adding bottleneck is all the new development. I wouldn't disagree with that. Traffic can be an issue. Waterdown rush hour. Waterdown Road is getting upgraded. So Waterdown Road is going to be the main road that takes you from like Dundas or like, you know what I mean, main Waterdown area. Waterdown Road will take you to like the 403, but also Aldershot Go that has a train station or a GO train going in to Union Station every 30 minutes. Some great conservation areas. One of my personal favorites, I'm glad they mentioned here, was the Valens Lake Conservation Area. It's a part that I like to just go away for a quick weekend, you know what I mean, 2-3 days, get to camp, and then not have to drive 3-4 hours back through like the Muskoka traffic in Toronto. I can just get back in 30 minutes, or if I need to jump into Walmart, I can jump to Walmart in like 20 minutes from the campsite there, which it's not really camping, it's more like glamping, I guess, but nonetheless, I enjoy it, so maybe you will too. I like Waterdown, but consider major arteries going in and out. Waterdown Road is always a challenge, no doubt about that. I think that's it. Yeah, so like this, again, comment, rude post, LOL. It's super white. I don't know about that necessarily. I would say it's definitely become more diverse over the last couple of years. Not sure if you're being realistic. Nice suburban town for families. It's located near Hamilton Provincial Parks. Property taxes are significantly higher than Burlington, like we've discussed. Let's see the next one we have here. So this is someone that is planning to move outside the GTA, and they're looking for the pros and cons of Waterdown. So like they're mentioning, the prices don't go down significantly even outside the GTA. The difference is $50K for some similar properties. Technically, Waterdown is a part of Hamilton, and the taxes they say are low. That's incorrect. And small, peaceful community. Of course, car insurance premium will be lower compared to Brampton or other GTA areas. Anything else? If you like the access to quality ethnic food on a regular basis, as I do, that might not be possible in cheaper city. Yeah, I mean, that's technically true. As you kind of move away from the GTA, the diversity that, Toronto and Mississauga is going to offer you is definitely going to continue to decrease. I think Toronto and both Mississauga are in the top 10 of the most diverse cities in all of Canada. So Waterdown's a little bit less diverse than that. However, I would say, with that said, you still find some good local spots to enjoy. This person here says they would consider Waterdown in the GTA because technically this person is right. Like the GTA border stops in Burlington, but like Waterdown is literally on the edge of Burlington's thing. So that's one of the reasons why it's similar-ish in terms of price. Rush hour traffic, like we've discussed, as you can notice, it's a very similar kind of cons that we're noticing come up from the locals. It's the rush hour traffic, it's higher property taxes, slightly higher real estate. Again, compared to what you're comparing it to. It's much cheaper than Oakville, much cheaper than buying a detached home in Toronto. However, more expensive than buying something in like Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, or Brantford. Grimsby, similar-ish in terms of price points there. This biggest problem, like you said, you aren't saving much by going further east. Get the prices down. Yeah, Brantford's definitely going to be the most affordable. Grimsby, I would not call it more affordable. I'd say similar-ish to it. Depends on what you think a good area is. This person just asking questions. Let's see. Taxes are higher in Waterdown, as noted. People complain about it all the time. They don't feel the service tax. Yeah, like we talked about, service provided based on taxes. The main street is always backed up with cars, like we've discussed. If those aren't concerns, go ahead. If you are commuting, you can pop on the 407 if you're at East, because you just drive down Dundas and you can jump on it right there. So we'd have to agree with all those comments right there. If you want to learn what the pros and cons are, from my opinion, I'll leave a link in one of these corners here to go check out my full video going over the pros and cons of Waterdown. So this one here is comparing Milton versus Burlington versus Waterdown. So a couple of things. I would go with Burlington first, followed by Waterdown, then Milton. Burlington is convenient with multiple GO train stations and a charming downtown with a gorgeous front. Milton is just a sprawling exit off the 403. I mean, I'm not going to fully disagree with that. I'd say Milton's one of the fastest growing cities about 10 years ago in all of Canada. So it definitely is sprawling out there. It's a lot of new detached homes, a lot of townhomes. However, like we're talking about traffic bottlenecks in Waterdown, the 403 is going to be a huge traffic bottleneck if you're looking to get into the rest of the GTA through the 401. I lived in Burlington my entire life until my fiance and I got a condo in Toronto. Fantastic city. We recently bought an East Waterdown because we found the value to be better for us. If you can afford South Burlington, it's a no-brainer. North Burlington and Waterdown are very comparable. Milton doesn't even come close to this comparing ranking for this person here. I would say, yeah, like North Burlington, for the most part, depending on what areas you're looking, and Waterdown are going to be very similar, especially if you're looking in some of the newer areas like Alton Village or the Orchard. The density is going to be similar-ish with like the newer areas of Waterdown as well. And if you're looking for slightly more mature neighborhoods that were built in the 90s, you know what I mean, you'll find Headed Forest, Millcroft would be two of them. That are going to be a bit bigger detached homes with slightly bigger lots as well. And you're going to find that kind of in the middle of Waterdown as well to choose from. Let's see if there's anything else here about Waterdown. Waterdown will get you the biggest property. Yeah, I would agree with that. A bunch of questions are being asked there. I moved from Milton to Waterdown in just under a year ago and highly preferred. We are now backing onto farmland rather than small backyard homes and have a lot more space in a very friendly neighborhood. Found things in Milton to be inconvenient to access. So this person is preferring Waterdown. Now, I would say, like, depending on where you're living, right? Because if you're living in a brand new subdivision, you can still be backing onto like a smaller park or a smaller backyards, I would say. However, with that said, there's a lot of options that are just outside of Waterdown as well, like Freelton, Milton, or Milltown, excuse me, and a bunch of other smaller, like Rockton, that would be even one. Carlisle would be another one. These are smaller communities just outside of Waterdown, technically a part of Flamborough, that offer you more of those like cottage, ranch-style homes that have a larger lot. However, there's usually a price tag associated with it, especially in the Carlisle neighborhood. But if you're looking for something that has good access to a lot of Waterdown's amenities, Carlisle could be another option. Freelton's a little bit more affordable than that there, but a bit closer density as well. Burlington and Waterdown are great. Milton is also good, but I'd prefer living somewhere close to the water, as you can't go wrong. So obviously you see some people definitely prefer living closer to the water. So, all right, so if we just go here and we look up Waterdown, we see, so we see what areas these people are recommending for young families and children. So Waterdown sounds like it would be fit the bill for you. You can take Highway and Dundas straight to Burlington, decent amount of retail, lots of generally quiet suburban type neighborhoods. I would agree with that. If you own stay in Burlington, Brent Hill's 100% nicer than anything in the Hamilton proper. I mean, I wouldn't 100% agree with that. I know a lot of people that prefer Waterdown, Stony Creek, Dundas, Ancaster to the Brant Hills neighborhood. Of course, I mean, everyone has their own opinions. Ancaster is an option, slightly more expensive, sure. We have this person here that lived in Ancaster, was commuting to downtown Toronto via the Aldershot GO train station. Took them to about 20 minutes to Aldershot, or to Aldershot in the Aldershot GO from Ancaster. Waterdown, again, from my experience, has a more fast-paced life than Dundas. I would say it's similar vibe, maybe a little bit more small town, actually, I would say, compared to Ancaster. But it really does depend on like where you're living in Ancaster, kind of similar to Waterdown, right? You can be kind of more on the outskirts of Ancaster, more outskirts of Waterdown, and have a slower paced life, versus if you're in the middle of Ancaster or right beside like the Hamilton Mountain and all the shopping plazas, or you're in the middle, in the thick of downtown Waterdown, it's going to be a little bit busier there. This person's recommending Ancaster, Dundas, the Mountain, and Waterdown will fit their beads for a child-friendly place to raise kids, and I would have to agree. And those were those comments there. Then we have this one, which is how's the traffic? So we've already discussed this, so I won't waste too much more time on it. But really, Waterdown is I think this really summarizes it right here. Waterdown is a small growing town, growing exponentially because of the new real estate areas. As a result, infrastructure can't keep up. Talking about the taxes that we've had other people express concerns about the higher property taxes with less amenities. Small single lanes really back up. That's referring to downtown Dundas or downtown Waterdown on Dundas Road right there. A lot of locals are upset by this, as 10 years ago, the older, before the development, there was less traffic, and that's 5 years ago, it's 15 years ago now, no doubt. However, compared to like what they're saying what happened in Milton 20 years ago, I would say the growth in Milton was astronomically more than what's happened in Waterdown. A few other ones that we could be good morning. Traffic through Waterdown and Dundas is pretty rough. As you can see, very similar in terms of, but that's really like the only con that we're really seeing is the higher property taxes and the traffic overall, because it really has everything else good with it. We have one last one here. Heads up, getting into and out of Waterdown is about to get hairy this year. Now this is for 2025. If we actually go here and we can see the 5 key projects that they're working on in Waterdown in 2025 from the Hamilton Spectator. So first and foremost is that they're going to be building an interchange for Highway 5 and Highway 6 right here. So hopefully this will clear some bottlenecks on the west side of Waterdown, allowing you to get easier access to Highway 6 without having to wait for that traffic light right now, which is great to see. The other one that they're going to be repairing that will probably create the biggest bottleneck, because there's already bottlenecks around the downtown area of Waterdown, is the Highway 5 bridge repair that is over top of the creek. Now, with that said, this will definitely cause, Grindstone Creek is like literally at the edge of the Waterdown downtown area. $3 million is to be repaired starting in mid-2025. So definitely will create some pressure, especially on the other arteries of Waterdown Road and Highway 6 as well. Waterdown Recreational Center is going to be adding in here, which is budgeted to have a $27.9 million budget located right beside the Harry Hollow Twin Pad Arena and Collapsing Corners, which is amazing to see that they'll be adding this in here. And it will be late 2026 before they see that, but super excited to see that once it's done. They're going to be adding in a police and fire station to help with that growing infrastructure in Waterdown Road. And then the Collapsing Corner is going to be getting an interchange here as well. That connects, like we just discussed, Highway 5 and Highway 6 here. And then the final one is that the Waterdown bypass that will hopefully alleviate some of that traffic that is in the downtown area of Waterdown is hopeful will proceed with the work on the long-planned bypass stalled last September due to a dispute with the Indigenous consultation. So we will see what happens there, but hopefully they can alleviate that traffic as well. So hopefully now you have a better idea of what the Waterdown residents and other local residents think of living in Waterdown, what their major pros and cons are. If you want to learn my full list of the pros and cons of living in Waterdown, that's the next video I'd recommend you go take a look at. So you can find that video right here. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day.